now I get to bring somebody to the stage that many of us know. Patsy is a leader, period. It is every place she goes, it is volunteer work, it is in her community, it's with her brothers, it is basically just something she does. And I've had the opportunity to know Patsy and to see her impact on all the boards you not only were part of, but you became chair of, the ones that asked you back, the ones that wanted you to serve 3 terms. I mean, Patsy has been involved in shaping our industry to what it is today. Not only the individuals, not only the league, not only the national level, but also on a local basis with many of us who have benefited from that. I also want to comment that there's a quality in Patsy that I think is probably in all of us here, and that's the desire to continually learn. She and I got together as part of Mitchell Stankovic, and she became an associate. And in that role, she has, for the last couple of years, inspired me with the underground, challenged things. And with the formation of CU Pride, she brought her inquisitive nature to what that means. And she dedicated herself to learning, to hearing the stories, to bring out the empathy that's needed for those people that are left behind within society, that need to be represented. And it's not always easy. The terminology is not always easy. The languages are not always easy. But for me, opening your heart and having somebody like Patsy be willing to stand up with us, be part of CU Pride, and continue your journey, even though you've retired quite a few years ago. She is as active, if not more active today, than she was as a credit union CEO. So please join me in welcoming Patsy.
Thank you, Sue. I do have notes. This is really important and a very special day for me, and I want to make sure not to say everything that I came to say. I grew up in a small town in North Carolina in the 50s at a time when children were seen and not heard, especially little girls. Fortunately, my mom and dad didn't try to put me and my brothers in a corner and keep us quiet. I'm not sure that would have worked anyway. By the time I started first grade, I had 3 younger brothers. I loved school, coming home and teaching them what I had learned. They were my first students. They were also my first teammates. There were 3 of them, so they needed me to round out the team to even the odds, whether playing baseball or football. Because I was the oldest and the only girl, I was the self-appointed leader. I learned early on that telling them what to do wasn't the best way to get things done. That was an early lesson in leadership. I grew up at a time of racial tension in the South. I walked into doctors' offices that were marked for whites. There were other doors for coloreds. Waiting rooms were segregated. I was a junior in high school before black students were allowed to attend my school. It was during the 60s that I learned that it was important to speak up for civil rights, equal opportunity, and equality for women, that protesting and advocating were sometimes needed to get your point across. Little did I know then that advocating for others would become an important part of my future, as well as standing up for what was right and fair. Our early experiences shape who we become later in life. Each of us has a story like mine to tell. Growing up, I didn't expect my story to be working for credit unions for almost 5 decades. John accepted a job in Eureka, California in 1976, and I applied for a job as a loan officer at a $25 million credit union. I met Steve Anton Giovanni, who was the chair of the California Credit Union League, and he told me in the interview that if I wanted a career in an industry, a movement founded on people helping people, I should consider credit unions. It's because of Steve that I found my life's work. I became passionate about credit unions, what they stand for, and the rest is history. We are all connected. I'm connected to each of the women being recognized today. I met Tansley when I was on the board of filing research, and Caroline when I was on the board of co-op. I remember being impressed with them then, and so impressed with what you both have accomplished. Donna and I, who couldn't be here today, are connected through the Golden One Credit Union, and Joanne and I through the Global Women's Leadership Network. Crystal, like me, grew up in credit unions, promoted through the ranks, and became a very effective CEO. And Judy and I were colleagues in California, and at the time, two of only a handful of women who were CEOs of billion-dollar credit unions. We attended many state and national roundtable meetings to make sure that women's voices were heard, that we had a seat at the table. I know we helped pave the way for some of the women CEOs today. I'm so glad that Sue was asked to be our MC. She and I are also connected. We first met when I was the CEO of Alliance Credit Union and worked with Sue on Midas marketing. Years later, she recruited me to get involved in the Global Women's Leadership Network, and I've been a volunteer ever since. After I retired, she asked me to join Mitchell Stankovic and Associates as a consultant, and last fall to take on a new role, which is to provide executive support to Zach Christensen, who is the executive director of CU Pride, and as she mentioned, to lend my voice to the LGBTQ community as an ally, and to encourage other allies to help create a safe, inclusive place for education and communications. Throughout my career, I worked to be inclusive, to be an advocate, and to make sure all opinions and points of view were heard. I'm very glad that Sue asked, I'm glad that I said yes to Sue each time she asked, and as many of you know, you really can't say no to Sue anyway, so. Your friendship, Sue, has meant so much to me, and I'm honored to be here today because of your nomination, and I really do like working with you to get stuff done. At my retirement party, when I retired as the CEO of Travis Credit Union, I said, I truly believe the statement that to whom much is given, much is expected. I gave back through my participation on a number of industry boards and committees as a volunteer in the communities where I lived, where we lived, and contributions of time, energy, and money. I believe in the importance of being a mentor and helping mentor others. I had wonderful mentors in my career like Steve and Stan Holland, who Caroline mentioned, who was the CEO of the Golden One Credit Union. He let me spread my wings and get involved in organizations that were innovative and game-changing, like shared branching. That's when I became actively involved in the League and was elected to the CU's board. Our focus was on education, and we developed the CEO Institutes. I have always stressed the importance of education, training, and development, both for me personally and for individuals who reported to me. I think mentoring others was the most rewarding aspect of my work. I want to thank my husband, John, who is here, who's been with me every step of the way, always been in my corner. I can't thank you enough for your love and support, and for sharing me with credit unions since 1976. I would not be receiving this award if it wasn't for you. Congratulations again to the amazing ladies being recognized. I am honored to receive this recognition and sincerely thank the museum's board of directors and the sponsors of the HERStory Award for bringing the contributions of women in credit unions to the forefront. Thank you very much.